Hello, my pretty awkward friend. I'm really excited to talk about this topic today. This is a Strategy with Meg solo episode. It's been a bit, so I'm really pumped to be here with you. And when this idea came to me, I was like, oh, yes, well, actually, okay, I can't take all the credit for me. It came to me really from questions I was getting from some followers and things like that. So I can't say I just popped out of my head alone. I got inspiration from you. So thank you. And this, my friend, is just a quick PSA and reminder to ask your audience things, ask them for feedback, ask them to help you with things, ask them what they need help with, even if, because I know a big objection, especially if you're in your first few years and don't have much of an audience, is I don't have much of an audience, right? I don't care. Still ask, and then go out there and find where your audience is and snoop and ask them what's going on. If you're in Facebook groups, even if you can't technically like type and ask questions there, if it's a very strict group, see what they're saying, eavesdrop, like be a spy and see what they're asking for, what they're struggling with. Go to accounts that have a lot of followers, and you know those followers are your ideal clients, right? It's a competitor that has been maybe more established than you. See what comments that people are commenting on their posts, see what posts are getting the most engagement. Like do some detective work, detective, what am I saying? Do some detective work and figure out what's hitting that you could take and obviously make your own. Okay, that's like just a side note. Anyway, let's dive in. So we're going to talk today about my first 20K launch, why it was a success, and what I would change today. So this launch was in, we're going to go back in time, was in December of 2018. Yes, December of 2018. And this was for my first ever group program of my business coaching world, because I had I had two other businesses, network marketing, and then I had a health coaching company. And I had a group program for my health coaching company, and that did really well as well. And that was from a free challenge. I have been doing free challenges since my network marketing days, but I started to really perfect it. And then after this launch actually is when I sold my free challenge course that did really well, because people are like, you keep having these really successful launches from these challenges. How are you doing it? Teach us your ways, right? So anyway, that's what I did. But this was in December 2018. And the dates that I did worked out really well. And I wanted to share that first, because I think a lot of times we think, oh, the holidays, everyone is so distracted, which is very true. I don't usually encourage clients to like launch like right around Christmas time or anything like that. But the thing is, people are in a buying mode around this time, especially around like the Black Friday time period. Now, the caveat to that is there's a lot of competition. Everyone is marketing around that time, it feels like, right? So it's either like have something really unique or a unique stand or a really incredible offer, or just go into it going, hey, I'm just going to only market to my warm people, my people who just really want to work with me. And this special, this deal, this launch is that for them. That's going to tip them over. Right. So that time can be really great. And so what I did was I did a challenge from the beginning of December. I don't remember what the Monday date was, but maybe let's say it's the 1st, just to be easy. From December 1st to the 5th, it was a 5-day challenge. And I launched on the last day and I opened cart for 5 days. It was a very short open cart. But before that, I think I spent like 2.5 weeks getting people into the challenge. So I was giving so much free value. I was really helping them and going, this is why this challenge is going to help you. I was educating them. I was overcoming objections. I was helping them feel like they could really do this. They could really build their business. And the challenge was called Get More Clients Challenge. It was very face forward. It was very literal, and it was awesome. It was amazing. And so I'm going to kind of walk through a couple of reasons I think that launch did so well, and then what I would change today. So this was, like I said, the beginning of December, and we only opened it for 5 days. What ended up happening is I initially just wanted to take 15 people. That was my goal, was 15. And we hit that on the first day. So I was like, oh shit. Okay. I think I need some help. So I hired a co-coach, who was a really good friend of mine at the time, still is a really good friend of mine, hired a co-coach, and we ended up taking 15 more people. I think we actually ended up with like 32 people. Now this was a very, very, very beta price. I'm talking way too low of a price, under $1,000. And it shouldn't have been. And I think the first round was 10 weeks. I don't think it was 12 weeks. I'm pretty sure it was 10. It's so long ago that I'm forgetting, but we launched the beginning of December. We closed before the 15th, And then they started the beginning of January. And fun fact, all I had recorded when I launched this was the mindset module and module 1. Everything else, I had 9 modules plus some bonuses. Nothing else was recorded, but everything was outlined, like very detailed outlined. I had the whole framework, and we're going to get into that. But this is something I'm a fan of. If you're creating something for the first time and it's a group program where they have modules, or even if it's a one-on-one, a lot of times people think they have to have video modules, et cetera, for one-on-one. You don't, by the way, you don't. But let's say you're like, I know I want to create that. I personally am a big fan of sell it and then create it. Obviously, you have to know what's going to go in. That can't be something that you're still learning and you don't know how to teach. This got to be something in your bones that you're like, oh, I know this like the back of my hand. I could teach this all day long. I've had clients, whether it's for free or friends or family or myself, go through this process. I know it works, right? I feel really confident with it. But you don't need to film everything. And the reason I say that is I see this stop so many people. And, or like I just said, with a one-on-one offer, I see a lot of people unnecessarily have videos where they don't actually need them and they could create them as they go. And that's something that I did. I did not only with this, but when I had my one-on-one before this, I didn't have any videos. I just was doing one-on-one, and I started to create videos as more of my clients were asking similar things. And I was like, you know what? This would save us a lot of time if I had this in a video that I could just give all my clients. And so that's what I did. So I really, really encourage you to think about this, is outline it, know exactly what you're going to be doing, whether it's one-on-one or a group program, know what you're going to be doing, or a course. But you don't necessarily need to have everything filmed. I don't encourage it because it's going to stop you from actually putting it out there, right? And sometimes you're going to be adjusting it as you're going because you're learning about it from your clients. Your clients are asking questions like, oh shit, that's a good idea. I should have done that. I'm going to add that in. That's something I missed, right? So anyway, wanted to give that as a little setup. So the first thing I wanted to go over that I think why it was such a success is I niched down. I focus on helping health and wellness coaches. Almost everyone, there might have been a few people who snuck in that were not health and wellness coaches, but almost everyone was a health and wellness coach. So much so that even iterations after, up until 2 or 3 rounds ago, I had a channel in the Slack channel where we host the program that said health and fitness, because I was still attracting so many. Now it's very varied. Now I have a lot of life and mindset coaches, sex coaches, relationship coaches, business coaches, social media coaches, all such a wide variety now. And some service providers. I've had copywriters, accountants, bookkeepers. So it's not just that, but I think this did so well on my first launch. Remember, in the beginning, you've got to establish trust. You've got to establish credibility, was because I niched down. And I niched down on something I knew like the back of my hand. I had built 2 health and wellness businesses at this point, both to 6 figures. I knew how to do that really, really well. And this leads me to my next point, is I focused on one offer before this, the power of one. If you have listened to this podcast, you've heard me say this. If you haven't, the power of one is so important, in my opinion, in the beginning. Now, I get it. We're multifaceted. We're multi-talented. We want to help everyone with everything. Now, if you want to run multiple businesses, go for it. Do that. It's a lot, I think, personally. I'm a big believer in focus, but to each his own, right? What I find is when people are trying to market like 5 different offers on one platform in their first month of business, I'm like, no, or even in the first year, zone in, focus in. I know it feels boring sometimes, or I know you're like, oh, this doesn't feel like it's working, I'm going to jump ship. It's not that it's not working. You haven't given it enough runway. You haven't given it enough traction, right? And so what I did was I had one-on-one coaching for almost a full year before I launched my group program. I literally didn't have any other way you could work with me. I started taking business clients under the radar in 2017. I was hired to be a co-coach in a group program, and I had a good chunk of those people who I coached in the group program graduate and work one-on-one with me. And so I had about like 8 to 10 private clients between the end of 2017 to the end of 2018 for a full year. All I did was private coaching, one-on-one coaching with business owners, right? Beginning business owners, pretty much solely fitness coaches and health coaches at the time. And guess what? I got really good at it. I got great at coaching. I developed a framework. It was one I'd been using. It's one that I had been using for years and years and years. And obviously it got more robust and simplified, honestly, as as I realized like what's fluff, what do we need, what do we not need. But I created a really solid process to use with my clients, and it was repeatable and obviously adjustable for each client, because one-on-one coaching is custom, of course. So it's not going to be just copy paste, but I still had something to go off of, right? Even with one-on-one, having that really helped me feel so confident, really helped me like go all in with these clients and feel like I know what I'm doing. I know I can help them. Right. And so that just really, really helped, was honing in on one thing, so much to the point where I was booked out. And by the time I launched my group program, all these people were like, we need another way to work with you. You literally can't take more private clients. And that's a huge reason it did so well. That's a huge reason it was such a slam dunk, is I built up the demand and I didn't try to jump ship. I didn't do it too early in my journey. Right. And that's only a year. It wasn't a long time. It was a year of like super hyper focusing. And this leads me to my next point, which I just kind of alluded to, is I had a signature framework from my one-on-one offer. I perfected the process and I tested it over and over and over. So I felt really confident when pitching. Again, this wasn't something that I was like, I think this is the process I take people through. It's like, no. I actually like really learned it. I was like, this is the first step. And then this is the second. And again, these were one-on-one people. So it was custom. So sometimes someone would really be on step 3 of my process and we would just jump there. Right. So even with a one-on-one offer, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you have some kind of framework, even if you're just starting. Otherwise, you're going to be really nervous when you get clients. You're going to be like, I don't know what I'm doing with them. Right. And this is so important, because if you're not confident when someone comes in, you're probably not going to be confident pitching or coaching or talking about it. And I notice this a lot. I see this happen a lot where people are like, my content's not landing. People aren't signing up. I'm not getting DMs. And when I actually look, I'm like, well, you're not really talking about your coaching. You're not putting yourself out there. You're not actually saying, hey, this is what I do and this is how I do it. And the reason is they're not 100% confident with it. They don't know if it could get people results. And the thing that could help them with that, like erase all of that doubt, is having a signature framework. So this is something I'm going to be helping you with. Before we move on, I want to make sure that you know you're getting first dibs. You're hearing it first on the podcast. I'm running a free workshop. It's going to be live on March 15th at 1 p.m. EST. There will be a replay available, but real-time feedback is happening on live, and I'm doing a lot of juicy bonuses on live. It's called Create Your Signature Framework, so you can stand out in a saturated market and sign more clients. In this, you're going to get super clear on the steps you're taking your client through in your offer, even if, like I just said, like me, it's a one-on-one type program, very customizable, right? And that's a huge question I get is, but Meg, my offer is one-on-one, it's custom. I can't have a process like that. Yes, you can. We're going to talk through that. Map out, it's going to help you map out the mini transformations your clients will experience within your offer. So you can market that on social media in a way that makes them DM you, right? These mini transformations along the journey of them entering to exiting, they're going to have these mini transformations. When you're marketing something that is online, right? We're not sending people products. It's intangible. This makes it more tangible. These mini transformations. I've seen it change the game for people in their marketing. It makes them go, oh my gosh, this is what I'm going to get. And then this is what I'm going to get. And then I'm going to get here. And it's walking them through the process, and it's making them feel more capable. Because when someone is looking at like this big goal, right? Let's say it's to go full-time in their business, or to make their first 5K month, or to lose 20 pounds, or to find their relationship, or to have the best sex life in the world, right? I've literally coached all these different types of people. So I'm using these as examples that I've actually helped people with. These are all different types of coaches, right? Those are big. Those are really big transformations. Those are life-changing transformations. Like you are a different person with those transformations. That's overwhelming. That's really overwhelming. Even when someone wants it so bad, even when someone's craving it, they're like, oh my God, I want this so bad, but I don't know if I can do that. That feels so far away, right? It's kind of like when you're paying $1,000 for your rent and you want to get a mansion in the Hamptons. I'm just saying the Hamptons because I'm from New York, right? Now, is it possible? Yeah. But man, does that feel far away from paying $1,000 a month for your rent, right? It's going to be a long time, right? Or it just feels so far away. And so it's like, what's that next step? And so when you can highlight these mini transformations, it just makes someone go, oh, that feels doable. I feel like I could do that. Okay, great. Okay. And then after that, then the next one. Okay. That makes sense. Right. And when you can break that down, they're so much more likely to believe in themselves. A lot of times people don't say no because they don't believe in you or your offer or the value you provide. They don't believe in themselves, or they don't think they're capable of doing it because it feels so daunting and far away. This closes that gap. So that's something we're going to go over, and it's going to identify what makes your offer stand out and become the choice for your audience, even if you have all these competitors who are more established. This is such a big fear and objection I get. And man, I want to always tell people, I think you have such a leg up from people who are established, because when you're growing and when you're established, especially if you have a lot of followers, you can't possibly interact with every single person that comes your way. You can't form a relationship with every single new follower, especially if you have 20, 30, 40, 50,000 followers. The more and more you get, it's almost impossible to have that boutique agency type feel, where when you're just starting, you can do that. You can provide that feel. And how amazing does that feel as a follower, right? When someone messages you, I try to do this. I try to message as many followers as I can. I'm not always perfect with it, but I try to. And I know that it makes such a difference. I'm trying to never let that go, but things get busy as you grow. And so I think you have a leg up in that way from more established people. And a lot of times, the more established, the higher their price. And if you're starting, your price is probably going to be lower. That's really appealing for people too. So there's so many pros to being new, actually, which I feel like we got to switch that perspective in a way. So anyway, that workshop is going to be happening, like I said, on March 15th. Make sure you go to the link in the show notes to register. You have to register to get the Zoom information. It's a private Zoom link. It's going to be so freaking epic. It's meganyelaney.com/free framework workshop, but with dashes between those. So free-framework-workshop. Okay, let's get back to the things. I just wanted to nail that down, because that is hands down one of the reasons this did so well. I was able to rattle off the framework so easily. I was like, this is what you get. This is what we go over. Here are the mini transformations. Here's why you're going to have success. And it was like, oh, you just painted that journey so easily for me, because you know what you're doing, even though I didn't record anything yet. I only had 2 modules recorded, but I knew where I was taking them, right? Okay, the next thing that we did, and why it was such a success, was we had a really great free challenge. You could say this is a free workshop, a free masterclass, any free event, right? Where people are coming together, watching your stuff. I pretty much have only been doing it live I've only done it live actually, since 2017. Let me think, 2017. Well, honestly, I did it a little bit back in my Beachbody days too. I did do live challenges. So probably since 2013, 2014, but really structured since 2017. I had a free challenge that resulted in 5 high ticket clients for my intermittent fasting health coaching. And it was exactly the same process. It's not any different than today. I've learned some things, and obviously I adjusted for social media, et cetera, but I don't think it's ever going to die. I don't think it's ever going to die, because people are engaging with you live. They're learning in the moment, and there's so much power in that. So we did a free challenge, and it was so over the top with value. It was wild how much value I gave in this. And it really showed my coaching style and massively helped people build trust, especially because I gave so much away. They were like, oh my gosh, I cannot imagine what her program is like if this is what we're getting for free. And it was called the Get More Clients Challenge. Like I was saying, it was very obvious. And I focused on 5 key things, or actually it was really 4 key things that you need to do to get clients. I focused on ideal client. I focused on market research. I focused on content. And I think the 4th was sales. It was so long ago, but I think that's what it was. And I remember the 5th day was the mistakes people make. And that was always a fun 5th day. And I've had a lot of clients make that their last day of their challenge, is mistakes people make when trying to, whatever the goal is, right? Mistakes people make when trying to get clients. That was mine. And within that, I highlighted some very common things that people do and how I teach you how to do the opposite in the program. And the last mistake, and this was the key, the last mistake was they don't get support. They don't get help. They don't get accountability. And that was so natural for me to launch into my program. And that's what I did on the 5th day. I said that last mistake, and I said, you don't have to make that, because I have such an incredible opportunity for you. You've been plugging in all week. You've been making so much strides. You've been having so many breakthroughs, so much clarity. And I know you don't want to stop this momentum. I know you're ready to go full-time in your business, blah, 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 blah. But do my pitch. And I launched, and I will never forget this moment. I literally get chills thinking about this right now. I will never forget this, because on the live, as I was pitching, And it's so funny. I remember exactly where I was. I was in Las Vegas. My husband and I were living at my mom's house in New York, but that was our address. We were traveling so much that year. We were like living in different cities in Airbnbs. And for like 3 weeks, we were in Vegas in December visiting my dad, but we had this awesome Airbnb. And so I was in the Airbnb. It was really nice. I was doing my live. I was like, honey, you got to be out of the house while I'm doing my live. And I remember on the live having, I think, at least 5 people in the chat go, I just bought. I'm so excited. I can't wait. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, people are buying live. I had never launched a business group program before. And I was like freaking out. I remember after the live ended, I ran. Maybe he was home, because I do remember telling him right away. Either he was home or he just got home. And I just remember telling Mike right away, like, oh my God, 5 people signed up right on while I was still pitching. Talk about social proof, man. That felt good. That felt so freaking good. I was like, holy shit. It was so cool. Like, I think back to that, I'm like, man, that was so exciting. It was so exciting because I knew how incredible this program was going to be. I knew how much it was going to change their lives. And I was so in that service mentality. So that's something I really want to, before I move to what I would change, I really want you to take that to heart. Yes, my goal was 15 people, but it truly, I say this with real sincerity. It wasn't because I wanted to make a certain amount of money or anything like that. I was like, I know that this group would feel so good if I had at least 15. Like, for some reason, that number kept coming to me. It was like really intuitive. And I just know this has helped all my private clients. This has helped them so much. I want to give this to more people. I just can't possibly take on another client. I have 10 people I was doing weekly calls at the time, which I do not recommend doing. And I was like, I can't possibly take on any more. And I want to grow, but more importantly, I want more people to get this. I don't want to gatekeep this. And so it just felt so giving. I was like, yes, I get to give this process. I get to give this framework. I get to give this to people. Of course, they're investing because they got to invest to really take action and take charge and actually move their business forward. It felt so freaking good. And that round was amazing. It was such a beautiful first round. We did this incredible accountability system, which we still do, with everyone gets a partner. And it ended up being 2 of those girls became such close friends that one was the bridesmaid of another years later, which I thought was so cool. So I love that fact, but it was just like such an exciting moment. And I really think back to, if I didn't get 32 people or even the 15, that was my goal, I still would have thought it was a slam dunk because I was so in service. And that's the key, my friend, is if everything you're doing, especially in the beginning, is just to make money, sign clients, because I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. And you're not really thinking about what's the work you're going to be doing with them. What's the actual work you're going to be doing with them after you make the sale, and being in that service mentality, like that's when people want to sign up. Is they feel that energy. Someone can tell when you are promoting just to make money versus like, I can't not share this message. I can't not help people right now. And I had that to the max. I had that to the max for like 2 years straight. That was like how I ran. And then the money was really nice and very fancy and really blinded me. And I kind of went the other way for a little bit. And then I've come back since, but I'm telling you, like, that was the key to me thriving in business. And I know that was why I had such great results, in addition to those other things I just told you. So I just had to leave you with that. Okay. Now I want to talk about what I would change today. Oh, and I think I said this, but I want to just reiterate. I only opened cart for 5 days because we've sold out so quickly, and I opened up more spots and I had to get a co-coach. It was so cool. But when you really warm up your audience, when you actually like establish all this trust beforehand, which, remember, I had like about 2.5 weeks before, maybe it was even 3, like 2.5 weeks before then, that I was promoting my challenge, giving so much valuable free content. And then I actually ran the challenge for 5 days. So that's 3.5 weeks. And then I opened cart for 5 days. So I don't do long launches. I don't need to, because by the time my cart's open, they're ready. They know launch week's actually the easiest week for me, personally. And that's how I like to do it. I've been doing it literally since 2017. A lot of people teach this method. This is tried and true. This is not This isn't new, but it works. That's why so many people do it. And it feels so giving, even right now, I'm technically in ramp up. I'm technically warming up my audience, but this feels so good to me because guess what? I would put a podcast episode out anyway. I would post on Instagram anyway. I would email my list anyway. So why not have it be really intentional and help my audience even more? Like it just helps everyone, So that's a huge part of it too. Okay. What I would change today, very few things actually, which is kind of cool. When I was like analyzing this, I would simplify the free event, which I have done with most of my free events since. It was really great, but it was a lot. It was too much for them to consume in a week. It was a lot. I was going over so many different aspects of signing clients versus like maybe one, like zoning in on one. And I probably could have had way more conversions, even more than 30 if I did zone in on one. So now I recommend getting a little bit more detailed instead of going so macro of your program. It's not that you can't do that, but if it's very overwhelming and complex, it can be overwhelming, right? If you have a very simple, like say you're a one-on-one health coach and your process is pretty simple. It's like mindset, health, nutrition. You could totally go over all those in a week, right? Or even in 3 days. I think that's totally doable. But when it's as involved as like online marketing and signing clients, there's a lot that goes into that. There's a ton that goes into it. I had 9 modules. There's many, many steps. So it felt like I was trying to squish the whole overview into one challenge, which I did, and people loved it, but I know they were overwhelmed. And I definitely lost some people along the way that probably didn't need to if I simplified it a little bit more, right? So that's one thing. I would utilize relationships more. Again, what I've done since, right? That first launch was $20,000. I think the next one was 60. And then the one after that was 100. And we had 100K launches after 100K launch after 100K launch. And these were some of these changes I did make. The challenge was the same actually for my second and third one. I did the same get more clients challenge 3 times in a row. And then I was like, all right, we need to change this up. This is getting a little repetitive, but it worked. It worked. I was like, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right. But I did realize, okay, I think I'm giving them a little too much, and not because I'm like, I don't want to give the good stuff and I got to gatekeep everything for the paid people. It actually had nothing to do with that. The paid people had plenty more to do, but it was more so that it was too much for them to digest. They couldn't digest it. And that's something you don't want to lose your people because you're overwhelming them. Right. So that was one. Utilize relationships more, friends, family, podcast clients to share my free event, or just let me share my story. I did this a little bit, and I've taught this in different programs where doing IG story trades, asking people to, I teach this in my launch course, actually, asking people to let you take over their story, things like that. And I would have done that a little bit more, even if you're just starting. Say if you're like brand new, you're like, Meg, I literally have only been sharing my journey on social media and I barely talked about my offer. I don't even fully have it fleshed out yet. Even then, if you're learning this process, right, you go to my offer, my signature framework workshop, you get that down, you're going to start selling your offer, all of that, and you feel really confident. You still have friends and you still have family. And I know sometimes we're like nervous to ask for that, but when it's something that's free, I think it's way easier because you never know who needs your help, right? Let's say you're a gut health. You're a gut health coach, right? Who knows? Your aunt might have a friend that has gut health issues, or your friend might have a sister that has gut health issues. Like you just never, ever know who's in your audience, right? For me, there's so many people out there who want to start businesses online, like so many. And so for me to prejudge is just not good. Right. And every time I do that, I'm like, why am I doing that? And I can't tell you how many people I have had from high school, from my acting days, from Beachbody days, which was a totally different business, end up joining group programs because they want to start a business, or they already have a business and they want to really attract people online now, or they have been, but it hasn't been the way they want it to be. And they really want to get a consistent system going. Right. You never know. So utilize that. Ask your friends and family, hey, I'm doing this really epic free challenge. Do you know anyone who fits this description? And send them the description of the client who it's right for, and send them the link to join, to opt in. I think this is so underutilized. It's like, yes, social media is great, but in the beginning, when you don't have a lot of followers, you got to kind of bootstrap it. You got to ask people for help. So go ask for help, like ask for help. Something we've been doing a lot this year is podcasting. I've been on so many podcasts in the last few months, like so many recordings. A lot of them will be coming out in the next like month or so. like a ton. This week alone, I think I'm on like 8 podcasts, like recording 8, which is wild. But I'm so excited. It's like, I love doing it. So it's really fun, but it's a great way to get like your message out there. It's a great way for me to get to know other audiences. Same thing when I have people on my podcast, I want to also share other people. I love sharing valuable people to you guys. Like, so that's a great thing, is to pitch podcasts, ask your clients to share, right? If they're open and willing, always ask permission, obviously never assume, but if they're willing to share your challenge, your free event, whatever it is, those kinds of things. So that's really, really helpful. And again, friends and family. And then the last thing is and I have done this since then, but I wish I did a VIP version of my free challenge, or I wish I mimicked the program in some way. So what I mean by this is, and I've shared this a couple of times on the podcast, so if you've already heard this might be repetition for you, but hey, repetition's good, right? So I've done a VIP version of my challenge, and I'll probably do that for a challenge we're going to have coming up in a month or so, where you pay $97. It could be 47, it could be 19, like, those magic numbers. But something that is like, okay, it's going to make them show up, but it's not going to break the bank. Right. And so I did a challenge that was free. And then I had a VIP version. It was $97. I think I had 12 people join. 8 out of the 12 joined my program. And that was a $5,000 program that converted very well. And I wish I did that back in the day. I wish I started that way earlier. And the key here is I didn't make the free challenge people feel like they were missing out if they didn't join, because I don't want them to feel like that. And that's the thing. I've done free challenges forever, and they convert really well. They convert great. But the thing I like about the VIP is just having a little bit of skin in the game and seeing what the program's going to be like. And that's how I made the paid version. The paid version mimicked the live version and mimicked what the program was going to be like. They got to experience it. And I was very honest about that. I was like, hey, by the end of this week, you're going to know what this program's like. You're going to have the feel of it. My coaches came on, they did a little coaching, so you get to know them. And they're like, all right, I'm in. I love these people. I like the structure. I'm in. Or I don't love these people. This isn't my structure. I'm not in. And that's fine too. We want people to make a decision. I don't want people joining that aren't right, or that don't like my coaches or myself, obviously. You know what I mean? So it's good either way. And I wish I did that earlier. I think this has been like a really fun strategy I've done twice now. Both times has worked really well, and I've really loved it. So that's those are a few things that I would have changed. Again, quick recap. Some things that led to that 20K launch is I really niched down. I focused specifically on helping just health and fitness coaches at the beginning. I was really clear with the power of one for a whole year. I had one offer, one ideal client, just one-on-one coaching. And within that leads to the third point. I created a signature framework that I knew worked and that I felt really confident promoting, and that distinguished me from other people. I made it really clear how this was different. And then I had a free challenge and event that was so, so valuable that made it a no-brainer for people to sign up after, because they saw a lot of structure and they saw a lot of progress. And then my price was a beta price. I want to be honest about that. It was very low. So it was a very easy opt-in, but I will say the next time I launched it, I doubled the price. The time after that, I doubled the price. The time after that, I increased the price by $1,000, and we kept increasing our revenue. So we ended up having 30 people join that first launch. And then 3 or 4 launches later, we had 30 people join as well, but the price was a lot higher. So again, starting beta is okay. I did, and I'm glad I did. I was a little too low. I wish I did a little bit higher, but honestly, it really built up my confidence. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And then, like I said, what I changed today, I would simplify the free event so it doesn't overwhelm my audience or make them think, oh my gosh, I have so much to go through here. I don't think I can join the paid thing. I would utilize my relationships more, and I would mimic the program in a low ticket version of the program ahead of time with some kind of VIP add-on. So those are a few things. I hope this helped you. Reminder, make sure you register for that free workshop coming up on March 15th. There will be a replay, but do your best, my friend, to make it live. We're going to have a link for you to add it to your calendar. It's going to be at 1 p.m. EST, 10 a.m. PST, wherever you are in the world. Put that into a converter and you can figure that out. It's megnyelaney.com/free-framework-workshop. You are going to walk away knowing exactly what process you take your clients through and how it's unique and different and how to market it. It's going to be so chock full. I cannot wait. I hope this episode helped you, and I'll see you in the next episode.